What's happening? We are back at Dynamic Character Productions. These are the exit interviews. I'm one of the hosts, Lauren Pratt, along with my co-host, McKenna Feeney, and joined as always by the exit person from this season, Lily. You know, all hyped up over there. I love to see it. And today we are joined by the fifth place finisher, Jay. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Finally, to talk about this, watching back, I have a lot to think about. I mean, man, I thought I was playing good, and we're not going to get into it today. So,
yep.
I've learned a lot since.
Yeah. And what better way to get into than talk about that first challenge?
Yeah, let's go there. That one. So we've heard
what
a
happened.
Theory of what you were trying to do. We've heard donkey. We've heard why was he pointing at his ankle? Why were they pointing at their ankles? We've heard I got it eventually. Like, what was running through your mind?
Well, I don't know, but I remember in the Zoom, McKenna sent me a message. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be good. And I think I tried to watch back and see if you can see my face, but I froze because I don't know how to do this. I just rolled at something. It didn't work out. I tried to put 4 fingers up and point at my calf, implying 4 legs. Trying to be like, it comes out of your.
I would have never.
That's even worse. I think I hate that. I actually hate that. Might I say, I was very kind to you at Tribal Council. I could have ripped you so hard.
I think it's because we didn't have a vote out that I think you didn't go full force there.
It's because we ended up talking about Chipotle. That's why.
You started the Chipotle and Tribal. I'm just gonna say that.
But yes, Jay, not your best moment, but still you get past it, which is a great thing in these games. You have to be able to adapt to certain situations, and sometimes, a curveball comes into the game and then you're able to go in a different direction. I think you did a really good job with that.
Yeah. I mean, I said, I wanted to say it was good and think I was getting, but looking back, in the moment, you don't know, but it was just so bad.
Okay, but I think it's JS on the Facebook wants to give you a redemption and let you charade how you would do it now.
No props.
No props. No.
All right, 4 legs and spells.
I'd probably just go like this and say it's a smaller animal. Do this.
I like it. I think that's good to focus on.
Or smell yourself.
I think you just needed to over exaggerate for because you were going
quick.
I think you just needed to be like, no, it's ranked.
Yeah, if only you had, a tomato, because when that happens, tomato juice, but you can't use props.
No props.
I know.
The entire
Look,
time.
if you held up a tomato, I would have been so confused. I would have been like, a red animal, a bird?
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
I think that's enough torture for the stuff.
Yeah, it's all good and fun.
After a brief computer crash, we are back.
Love that for me.
Well, maybe you need to go get yourself a cord so it doesn't crash again either.
Maybe.
So after we kind of dogpiled you about that competition, afterwards, it was you and Bill kind of on the line because that's where the competition went wrong. But that's really the only time we hear your name until right about when you go out. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I think it's the benefit of the doubt that I did not have to go to Tribal again after again. Because then I think you have people that are more vocal like Tom. And then, the whole Garret became, and the voters just kept going. And then, and then it's like, oh, well, we can look at Jay later. And I think that was a mistake by a lot of people. Because it's
Mhm.
we just like, you can look at them, no one looked at me. They're like, oh, we can just let them go again, let them go again. And then, I'm sitting at Final Six with that story, like, hey, I was supposed to be out first, and here I am. So I
Mhm.
think it was just, there's so many people who became targets, and I kind of used that to my advantage. And I was like, I'm gonna duck and let everyone just kind of do their thing, because I didn't need another reason for my name to come back up. It came up once, and I would have been gone. Like,
Mhm.
and I knew that. We saw it on my face at Tribal. So I definitely didn't want another reason. I kind of just ducked down, was talking to people. I might have played up, I will say this, I was very paranoid, but I might have played it up a little bit just because I knew people would be like, oh, they're paranoid, let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you played it very well with kind of flying below the radar, but you did mention you didn't have to go to tribal up until about the merge. So were you thinking you could trust the people that you were with, or were you kind of going in it, this is my first one. I don't know if I can trust the people I've aligned with.
Well, that's the thing. Like, see, I would have liked to trust people, but again, I knew I had the first vote. So then again, I knew if someone felt like they're on the bottom, they kind of easily gone to Garret and JS and said, hey, JM was going to go home. Somehow, again, didn't come up. So I was trusting enough, because I knew that Garret was acting a fool a little bit of himself, and that there was enough off of me, and the people were already targeting Tom, that I had a leeway. But again, it's Survivor, and you just never know. And I think we see me say that again and again over the whole game.
So
Yeah,
I might have stolen a question from you, Lily, but I'm just gonna ask it anyway. When we do that swap, are you happy with the people on your tribe? Were there people from WOTA 2.0 that you wished would have been on your tribe, or what? Talk about the
So,
swap.
so when I got to swap, the main thing was, I was like, I wanted to be with Celestina, because that's one person, like, I knew right away Celestina would never flip on me, because we knew each other. I knew, like, that just, it's like, I think McKenna mentioned this in the recap. It's just that one, like, that little bit can take you a long way. And then I wasn't too sure who else I would wanted. I thought maybe like Vinny, because they were very adamant about keeping me around at that first vote. So I knew that'd be a good number on my side. I just knew I would want a majority and not have to, how to put this, not have to worry. But
Mhm.
then again, I was like, always concerned, like, well, what did they do sell me out here? Because there's no, I didn't build that trust fully with anyone in the game besides maybe Celestina, and Vinny, because everyone else was adamant about voting me out of the first tribal. So
Mhm.
I didn't really have full trust, but I wanted to be like, I think it would have been okay enough for people at that point would have been like, hey, the devil you know versus the devil you don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a thing that came up in Tom's exit interview that's still valid here is this all happens within such a short time frame that
Yeah.
even though the first vote seems like it was so long ago, it was just a couple hours by the time you hit the merge. And
Right, I was still
so,
pissed.
yeah, and you might be worried, it's still in the back of people's heads. Whereas in a longer type game, people have probably forgotten about it. So did you feel like you kind of wore?
So a longer type game, you say. We just so happen to be casting for a long game, and these two played in our last long game. So to get people to sign up, talk about the long game, and maybe like a vote that you might not have forgotten about.
We live, laugh, loved through that season, and it was great.
I was
Lily
loyal to
very
the Alliance,
sensible.
right? Was I? I don't know about that. Here's the thing. It's a great experience. You meet really awesome friends. Lily and I went at each other, and look at us now. We're awesome friends from it. So it's at the end of the day, just a game. So sign up if you've never played one. It's a ton of fun. You'll meet a ton of new friends.
Lily, the newbie, made the final tribal council. Lauren, the org vet, made the jury. So, hey, if you are new, you still have that chance to make it to the finals. So don't count yourself out. Sign up, application link in the description.
And I'm dateable because I made the jury. So
Hey,
there we
Lauren,
have it.
we are going to be also casting for The Bachelorette. Lauren will be our Bachelorette, so any singles out there. All right, let's get back to our regular scheduled programming.
So back to Iririki Island. We get to the merge and we keep hearing Dak Dak strong, Dak Dak strong, Dak Dak strong. Are you really feeling this, or are you like, oh, it seems like everybody else feeling this, so I guess I'll go along with it?
Absolutely not. I knew the second I could flip on them, I was going to. And we see that, but I was like, because I didn't want to see it be boring, and mostly I was like, Dak strong. I'm going 7th. Like, maybe Tom ahead of me, but I was going 7th or 6th. I definitely was going to be like, oh, let's put out Garret, make it easy. And I might have caused some trouble, but we never got to that. And then Garret kept going by, and we'll get to that later.
So let's do a couple what if scenarios. I love these.
Oh, here we go.
If
I like this.
Garret had gone home right at merge, who are you trying to align with on Dak Dak to get closer to the end?
See, it's tough because like I said, Celestina. I doubt who would have want to keep Vinny a little close because they are, like I said, we're good friends now. Obviously, a little bit looking back, they weren't gonna come for me. And then I'm gonna go from based on heat in the game. I probably would try to keep Tom around because I know he didn't really think I can do much. I think he would have kept Bill, and I think that because me and Celestina were kind of connected, and Bill and Tom were very connected, that could have controlled the game there. And I think that would have been very good for us. And I think ultimately it would have had a good game plan with that going to the end of the game. If I can, I'll go into it a little bit, but I did my research. I noticed you did wall sits, and Tom was very adamant about being good at wall sits. So I said, I knew if I can get him and Celestina at the end, I could beat them and sit there. So I was definitely trying to position myself not only to have people that are bigger threats than me, but also have people ahead of me and have people that I knew I can beat in that final challenge. And I think that part of me wanted to be the only do that because I knew if I could be the only one to take out Tom and take sole credit for that move, it would have been a good one too.
So speaking of research, because obviously we don't know what's to come because we're at your current boot right now, but you said that realistically speaking, we do endurance at the end of the season. Do you think, based on the cast, that you could have beaten anybody in an endurance challenge?
Well, I'm saying we've talked about endurance challenges since a little bit, and I think I would be able to beat most of them. I think they underestimate me. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I think there might be a person or two that could beat me. Not going to lie. Or at least give me a run for my money.
Well, I mean, also the wall sit is using different muscles from the bottles out challenge that we see at the merge. So while Jay, you might not have gone the furthest in that, you did decently well halfway through.
I think I was fourth in my arm. I was leaning back too much, and my arms dipped. And
so that's a different muscle than like a wall sit would be. So like, who knows if the wall sit would have been your time to shine. Sadly, we do not get to see that.
Well,
or you do. And Red Reality's the challenge. Check it out.
Oh, peek behind the curtain, though, we have had a face-off of people at a reunion show with everyone doing a wall sit, and it was quite entertaining. So maybe this season, if you really want to have a crack at taking on some people in that endurance challenge, I can make it happen at the reunion show.
Let's make it happen.
Oh my God.
Back to the people that you said you would want to bring. I'm surprised JS isn't in that group. Talk me through why you wouldn't bring him, you're thinking.
Well, I mean, JS is in that group in a sense, but he's probably someone I bring to like 5 or 6 because it's like, again, you go back to the person that you don't want to get led too far because, I mean, Garret and JS gets to the end here, and we see Garrett's still in the game. If he gets the end, he's getting all the jury votes. So I knew, like, as much as I wanted to level JS, and I love him and he knows this, there had to come a point, and I know he's going to hate me for this, where I would have to cut him because I wouldn't be able to get to the end with him because he was the last remaining WOTA. I mean, it's like, and I knew I had a story the first boot, but it's like, which one would you have weighed out more? And that was a situation I didn't want to risk more so. But I
Yeah.
mean, definitely 5'4", I would have probably kept him around if I could, as long as I could.
So out of everyone, you're thinking final three would be Celestina and Tom?
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
And your final two would be with Celestina?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get more to that later, though. Clearly not for her.
We see Tom go home and we get to the final 6 vote, and you don't get to scramble. And Garret says he's going after Bill. Bill says he's going after Garret, and JS sends this cryptic message. And what do you think? Why don't you kind of speak up or be like, Jay, what are you talking about? And talk us through this whole thing, because we'll get into the vote, but the scramble or lack thereof, what are you thinking?
I knew what it was. Like, it was just 3 of us in the breakout room. I believe Brett might have been in there, but cut out like last minute. I'm not sure if he fully heard it, but I mean, I knew what was going on, what Jay was saying. I mean, I'll plug it, the Bob Marley lines, like specifically he's trying to pull those heartstrings, trying to get me to go. And I knew that. And we'll get into the vote, but I mean, I knew what I had to do and I knew what he was talking about. So there's I think maybe for gameplay, I've been like, oh, Jay, what are you talking about? To kind of get someone else to catch on that may have not have. That might be a misstep in my direction. Like getting him to elaborate. So even though I knew what he said, maybe someone else didn't. And that's somewhere I maybe could have worked on. And
well, Celestina, JS blames Celestina for his removal there because she didn't vote with you guys. Do you think she really knew about like the 4 that Jay wanted to make?
I see, it's so hard because based on the edit, it didn't look like she was in the breakout rooms with the 3 of us. But I can't say going back because there's so many breakout rooms and that day was just so long and I was exhausted by the end. So I can't say like for sure if she knew, but I mean, I would like to think she knew. And whenever we interview her, we'll have to ask her about that, I think.
So now talk us through the vote. So because we see it comes to a tie, right? Which I think you do what is best for your game. You know what I mean? Vote Bill, thinking that a majority is going to go on Bill, and it ties.
Oh no, I knew there's no majority. I had a feeling there wouldn't be, but.
So why vote Bill if you didn't think there would be a majority?
Well, I knew that if I went with those 4, and let's say JS wins immunity at Final 5, I'm not sure. Looking back now and seeing the edit, I wasn't going. But then he did a moment, you don't know. And I had that. I was the last one, or the person going first. So I didn't know where everyone's allegiance was. And I knew that even if Celestina voted with me, JS might have said, hey, I'll cut him too. Or, I mean, ultimately, you see what happens to Celestina. Like, she was willing to. So, I mean, it was, if JS won immunity, I knew that would be troublesome for me. So I was like, what if I cause some chaos here? And Brett,
but you put yourself on the wheel, though.
Right, but if I could have got Brett out.
Yeah, but
talk us through this. I even have it written. I even have it written down. Like you said, you're gonna go to the wheel, and you tell people this after, and it's just even Bill says, I don't believe them for a second.
Yeah.
And Brett says right to your face, why would you send yourself to the wheel? So talk us through whether it was logical or, paranoia that sent you in that direction for the vote.
Well, I think it was a little bit of both, because strategically thinking, if somehow, like I maybe thought, okay, maybe Garret doesn't have an idol, but like he knew he didn't have an idol, it started to get fishy. But I was like, maybe he took enough direction off the merge idol. There was a chance that he could have been the only one looking for it or something. And I thought, if somehow something did come up, then Bill goes home, and that's not bad for my game. If worse, well, Brett goes on the wheel, and I have Celestina. I think I could have explained well to Celestina. I had Jay and Garret, who would have never going to vote me out. So there would have never been a majority there, if that makes sense. But I knew on the other side, there could have been a majority to vote me out. I know on this side, there's less of a majority to vote me out. So strategic, like long game thinking, end game thinking, I had a better path going that way than the other.
Okay. And I can kind of see, like let's have some fun. We hear this throughout this game. It's been a long day, feels like at points people are railroading, so let's switch it up. So I could definitely
I'd do that if I had immunity. Like if I was Celestina, I'd be like, let's tie it up, let's see what happens, because I'm not on the wheel. It's the fact that you put yourself on the wheel that I just cannot. Like you're at final 6, you're so close, and then you're like, today I woke up and chose chaos. Like
hey, go big or go home, get messy.
And you went home.
Yeah,
right after I survived the wheel.
Yeah, you've survived the wheel, but here's my question. Say you do make it to the end of the game. Do you think a lot of people will say, you know what, Jay took a risk by going up on the wheel, then I might give them some votes?
Well, I'd be like, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I'd be like, that's a boneheaded move. Why would you do that? Like, that shows me no strategy.
I said I made a move. I never said I made a smart one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay,
I
that's
will
fair.
admit to that. My gameplay was terrible. I've learned from it, and I'm vulnerable to that. Just letting you know, everyone.
I think though, after the vote, if you had gone with I chose chaos, I think like Bill would have received that a lot better, and Celestina, and I think you might have had a chance going forward, because then they would have been like, oh, JM, they're not going to get any votes because they chose chaos, and that final tribal, like what excuse is that?
Yeah. Well, I do have to say the misdirection I think I took about that was we'll get into this. Actually, we'll get into a little bit later, I think, with the question on Facebook, but I think there's something I could have maybe made my story a little bit more believable and try to pin it on, like, spin it a little bit differently to make it seem like people are like, okay, that makes sense. But
just
it just
tell us now. I want to hear it. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So I think if I had pinned it, it'd been like, hey, Brett blindsided Tom, guys. What makes you think Brett wouldn't flip again? And I think that would have taken the attention off me, because I think Bill and Celestina would be like, good point. Like, it's viable because Brett took out Tom. Why would he try not to take out one of us? And especially Bill, who was Tom's number one. I think it would have made a lot more sense to do something like that. And I think I sit pretty there if I was able to do that. But, paranoia was high.
Still appeal to all of the DAC and try and be like, I wanted to try and chance it with 2 of us on the wheel and get the one other vote. I think you're just, if you had posed it to Bill of like, yeah, Brett is shifty, and I think we can use Garret to maneuver forward.
Right, and that's something I do regret. I mean, since then, I think that I should have been able to say that, because we see it at this point. Everyone's kind of like, Brett's a little bit of a snake. I'm not sure how much I fully trust Brett.
Yeah,
but he's sneaking by. So
without a vote,
exactly, without a vote. There's only 3 people at this point before my vote without a vote, and he's one. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think Alex Cousins, my glam brother, has this question as well. Why try to you suggest, let's get Garret to give up his immunity. You can kind of see in that moment, it's silent when you're in the room, you're feeling that the votes are on you, and you feel like the only person's name you can put out there is either Bill and Garret. But why not Brett? Why doesn't, trying to throw out Brett to Garret and Celestina, why not that option?
Again, I'm going to say this, in the game, perception is everything. And I wasn't fully sure in the moment if people would actually go on Brett. Learning back now and talking to people, yeah, it probably would have happened, but that's something I was like, dang, I should have done that, because Brett was, like I said, everyone was a little shady, and no one was like really with Brett at that point. And I think it was just, I was like, I just made this move. It didn't work out. The target won immunity. Because of Garret's immunity, I don't have to speak up unnecessarily. That was a tell story because then it's just, oh, who flipped? I'm not going to speak up.
Mhm.
And then Garret would have gone home and it would have been easier. But I definitely should have. I'm sorry, Red, but I definitely should have thrown you under the bus there.
So we sadly see you getting voted out, and in your final thoughts.
God, your
can just
final words.
see-
I have final words for you. F
You
you,
can just
buddy.
see the wheels turning and turning through every choice you make. You're sitting there and you're like, oh, they're beating themselves up, aren't they? What are you thinking about once you get voted off?
Well, first of all, blindsided, I have to say. I knew I was getting at least one vote, maybe two, but the fact that Celestina promised me final two over and over and over again, I was like, oh, she's never going to do it. I'll be fine. I'll get 2 votes. And then I'm sitting there, and for some reason, you like the look on my face right as McKenna's pulling that last vote out, I was like, Celestina flipped. Something just told me. And
But one thing you said was Brett and Celestina are a 2, and Garret and JS are a 2. So wouldn't you just thought your relationship with Celestina was closer than
right?
Brett?
I saw them. So here it is. I saw them working together in a sense, and I saw me a little closer in Celestina, but I paired them up in a sense of like, okay, well, these two are obviously working to each other, and these two obviously working with each other. I knew that I thought I would have a little bit of a strong relationship, but as we see, I don't know if I clearly didn't, but
yeah.
And that's why we tell me how messy my final words are, but I was pissed.
I could
It was
tell.
mainly because she flipped. I won't lie.
Well, one question we like to ask is if you could play another org or real life survivor from this cast, who would you pick and why?
Well, I mean, I have played a game with JS, so I mean, I feel like that's out of the question. You see, I kind of played games here and there with Vinny, so I'm going to throw them out too. But I had to choose someone I haven't played another game with. I would say probably Garret, only because I think his chaos, he likes to cause chaos. I cause a little bit too, but I'm kind of more sneaky and Garrett's more in your face. So I think Garrett's a good shield. And also, I think Garret could piss off some juries sometimes, and he's very vocal. And but I also think we have this weird, like, real relationship now. I don't know how to explain it, but I think we just complement each other in this weird way, like just like that kind of like an unexpected duo, like the queer non-binary kid from New Jersey and like the frat boy from Indiana. Like I think it'd be like a little bit sneaky duo that I'd like there.
Nice.
I do like it, and I think Garret balances out, where you might not want to speak up. He can kind of take the heat. I think that's a good choice. Yeah, I just have one more question that I like to save until the end if we have Facebook questions.
We do. So kicking it off, Confessional King, recap extraordinaire, Alex Trias has a question for you. With the knowledge that you were most likely to have been first boot, if it wasn't for the medevac, do you believe that you had a successful second chance in the game? What did you work on to try and avoid being an easy name moving forward?
I think we kind of touched upon this, but I was like, yes, I think I had a very successful second chance. I mean, you can't, whether it was good, it was successful. Because successful as me is somehow, no one's going to remember me being first boot. They're going to remember me being where I fell in 5th place. So I think it was successful in the fact that I kept hanging on and clawing at something and I keep making it. And like I said, I saw people were rising as threats and I kind of just let them stay there. And I kind of just was like, let me be a little paranoid, have people think I'm not that threatening and see what I can do at the end. Because kind of like a little bit Erica style, like, hey, everyone wants me home in the beginning. And then the middle, stay in the middle there and then make some moves at the end. And look, you see how that got her. So I think it was kind of one of those things. I was like, let me just let the threats take each other out and then be sitting there and be like, none of you thought I'd be here. So I think definitely it was better thought than in the game than it proceeded. But I think, yeah, I became a successful second chance. And I think it wasn't completed. That's all I want to say.
Okay, so we have just a comment from Bill, since we already kind of touched upon his question. Hashtag skunk buddies forever.
Love you, Bill. My skunk brother.
So another 5th place finisher, Mr. Kyle DuRant, had Garret lost that immunity, would you ever have considered working with him for one more vote just to try and break up a more threatening alliance?
Hell no. At that point, I need to vote out Garret and just not put any more pressure on myself. And then I could have worried about them later. At that point, I need to throw the pressure on myself, say Garret needs to go, and then maybe planted some seeds inside Bill and Celestina. Like, do you think Brett was the one who flipped? We should consider taking him out of 4. I like this final 3. And maybe planted those seeds and then taking someone like Brett out of final 4. I think if I planted those seeds and then just took out Garret, I think that could have been beneficial.
Yeah, I think if Garret was able to get votes, I think you might have squeaked by, because Garret is this big threat that's still here. All right, Vinny, Jay, I just wanted to say I love you so much, and I'm so glad that we're friends. Playing with you was so much fun, and I am proud to have you as a 2-time winner in my game. Question though, who would your perfect final 3 look like if you could have made it to the end the way you wanted? So let's take this as a viewer, not in-game. So viewing everybody's game now, who would you like to sit in the final 3 with?
Oh, JS and Celestina, easy, because they're the only 2 people that are very adamant about teaming to the end. And I think since we've talked and viewing and just having conversations with people, they were very adamant about keeping me around. I think that if I sit in the final 3 with them, no matter what direction, I'm at least getting a chance to plead my case there. So I think definitely that would have been where I would have gone with that.
Speaking of JS, Jay, so much love. You are a great friend, and I'm glad to have met you in this game. We have already talked through all the what-if scenarios in the game. So many questions will focus on other things. If you were to do charades again and pulled the skunk card again, could you show us? So I love that question, but we've already discussed that.
I'd still stand by the pass.
If we were both in the game for a final endurance challenge, how badly would you have lost to me? A, really badly. B, super badly. Or C, very badly, ? And a smiley face.
D, none of the above.
Ooh.
I want to see it at the reunion. Jay, let's break it. Come on.
And I'm not going to lie. I think Jay would kick your ass. I'm so sorry to break it to you.
Hey, we'll see.
Battle of the Jays.
I know Jay's watching. I already owe him 1 beer. So, Jay, we'll bet a beer on it again. And we'll see what happens.
Is the beer filled with water or beer this time?
Oh, yeah, great question.
Well, we'll see.
And most importantly, what did you learn about yourself from playing this game?
See? I don't know if you guys see it, but up there, it says never give up. And as you guys know, I've talked to Laura McKenna about this. I was at a really low point, and a lot of people were really concerned about me there. And I've learned that through not being the first boot, that there's always a chance. And if you keep sticking something out, it's always going to work out. And I'm in a better place in life. I love myself a lot more than I did. And, from this game, I've met so many great friends, and I've learned so much from talking to people, and just being able to realize that you can do anything you put your mind to. I'm proud of myself.
Awesome. We're very proud of you. You know that.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Who knew one game of Survivor trivia could lead to this,
Who knew? And many other orgs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that's it for Facebook.
All right. So to end out our exit interviews, we always like to ask if you could sum up your game in 1 word, what would it be and why?
I'm going to hyphenate it and say self-reflecting. Because I saw myself, how bad I played. Not only did I learn about that so much, and I learned so much from learning about how I played, because it made myself a better player. And I've won 4 games since. I got to play on a cast of Winners at War and speak up against diversity and, a problem in our world. I've done so much that I was able to bring a lot to the world. And not only that, I've put myself in a better position. I've come to realize and care for myself a lot more than I ever have. And I think Lauren is going to tell me this. Sometimes you have to put yourself first. And through this experience, I've learned that it's okay not to care about everyone else. And sometimes believe in yourself a little bit more than you always have.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. I think that's great. It's been great watching you. You're very genuine on camera. You bring a kind of bubbly attitude to the game. It's been really great watching you and hearing from you, and I can't wait to see more. So thank you.
I
I
mean,
might be back.
these next few episodes, I don't know what I'm gonna do with confessionals. Nobody's gonna be out of breath and panic. Even though it's
We
the
love
end
that from you.
I've
I have to
always
say-
had that one confessional that would just like hype up the rest, where it's just like, oh my god, all this stuff happened. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Hey.
So what was your question?
That was basically "T God, I love you," but that was basically what it was. And he was just like, okay, we're rolling with it, moving on.
We're good.
I don't think he ever probably had a question for you. It's just like there's always a couple people or like one person in the game where it's just he lets them go and it's just like, all right, great, thanks, you got everything.
He would just like ask me like a question, and I would just go, and he'd be like, and he maybe ask me a follow-up question, but most of the time he asked me 2 questions most. He's like, great, thanks.
Alrighty.
Imagine being me and time stamping this, where I have to rewatch and say, what did Jay say again?
Yeah, I just get so when I get Lauren's notes, it's just like from 1 minute to 3 minutes is use this because I can't find a spot to cut. Because you just
I'm
But-
talkative. That's how I
Jay,
am.
this has been
not a bad
amazing. Great look at your perspective on this game. It was a lot of fun. Lauren, take us home.
Yeah, Jay, once again, thank you so much for playing. You were a delay on the season, and I'm so glad that you had fun and you met so many amazing friends from this experience. But with that, everyone, there you have it, the 5th boot and Dynamic Character Productions. Be sure to follow us on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, like and subscribe to all the videos that we have out there. And we have a crazy finish coming up. Can't believe it. It's going to be a good one. Let's see if that endurance challenge actually is in the final episode. So with that, I'm Lauren. With me as always, McKenna. And of course, the wonderful Lily. Take it easy. Good night, everyone.